Hello, welcome back, welcome to Top of the World, welcome to the channel, welcome to today's show. We've got the stair stringers, or what will be the stair stringers for the cabin. We're going to use the 711 or as near to 711 as works for the situation that we've got. 711 rule is usually a 7-inch risers, 11-inch treads. We're not going to get that because obviously we're more vertical than a normal set of stairs, and it's in a cabin and primarily designed for children. So looking at what we've got marked on the stringers somewhere, I'm sure I put what width I had. So I've got a 450 millimetre gap. Right, now let's go back to Imperial and see what our space is. 17 3/4 inch. Right, so our 711 rule is a 7-inch riser. That's how far there is between steps, including your groove in the back for the tread to go into, an 11-inch tread. Where if I go on my 90-degree mark, obviously we can't get an 11-inch tread because the width of our stringer is only 7.5 inch. And will a 6-inch rise, 7-inch rise work for little legs? I don't know. So probably if I convert my vertical lines or take my horizontal off of the floor and mark it up the inside, we should be able to draw out what we're going to do and how I'm going to put the treads into there. What I would normally do is I would normally router out the tread grooves and slide the treads in, and everything would fit together. And I think I'm probably going to do the same. We've had to put a lot of thought into how to do this. I'm not going to spend a long time talking about how your standard staircase templates work with treads and risers, which is a traditional way, and because we're not doing that, and I don't do that on a regular basis, so that's not how I do it anyway. So for me, in order to router these out and put the treads in routed, which is the right way to do it as opposed to any bodgy way of... Anyway, I've had to come up with a way of making a jig that I can router all these out quickly and efficiently because it's a one-off set of stairs. And this is what I've made. And what this is going to allow me to do is to router out on both stringers, one tread at a time, 4 in a row. That's the quickest way. Took me maybe 2 hours to make this template. You've got to have a template because you're routering, so you've got to have a guide, so you've got to spend the time making a template. How long will it take you to make up a standard set of templates, including wedge templates, for a standard set of stairs? A day, day and a half, 2 days, depending on how comprehensive you wanted to make it. I've done this in 2 hours. The idea of this is, and I'll bring you over and show you what I've got. You can see I've marked out centre line for my treads on both my stringers, which are back to back. And the idea of the jig is I will clamp this and the stringers together so that my lines are in the middle, and I will router out the first 4 treads, and then I will move this so that my last jig area template goes into the last or the top of the treads that are routed out, and then continue that way. I should only have to move this 3 times. So put it on the bottom, do the bottom, and then move it to the middle, and then move it to the top, and everything should be the same. I've got the treads in their form over here, right, with their ball nose on the front. You would normally have a groove in the back for the riser. Of course, we're not putting risers in these, so we don't need to do that. So they're my treads, not cut to length. and that's my jig, and these are my stringers, and this is the router piece I'm going to use. So if you have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, in order to get that inserted into this, I have to use this and go up and down and take the wood that I don't want out, so this fits into a hole. So what this does is this allows me to set the depth. Focus. Set the depth of the router bit to how much I want to take out of the stringer. And then the wheel on the side, which is this, it's a small bearing, runs up and down in here, round, down, and I can take out all the surplus wood from the two stringers that I don't need. And that's why you create a jig like this, because you could never hold this straight if you were you couldn't do it freehand anyway, and even if you were doing it freehand, it would grab and you would have chunks missing out of your jig. So the idea of the jig is so that you've got a guide for your bearing and so that your cutter is straight. So it's quite important when you make up your jigs that everything is smooth and round, because any lumps or bumps in here transfer to this. So now all I've got to do is position this, clamp this and all my pieces of wood together, set the router up, set the bit in the router, set it all up and start taking all these out. I don't really have a method for assembly for this, and I put you in the best place that I think you can be to see what I'm doing. So I've sanded the inside of both the pieces. I've done 3 sets of screws, top, middle and bottom. They're countersunk ready for plugs because I'll be plugging them. And I want to just use the glue on the rest of the treads. The treads are all lined up there with face side up, and each one of them has been sanded and fits to each one of the treads. I haven't dry fitted this. Too much, we'll have to flip it over and clean all the glue off, but you can see where we are with it all. Let's put those and how it works and hope this doesn't come back to bite. I'm sure it's going to be, oh yes. Yeah, there's a few gaps, but nothing to cry about. We need to clean all that surplus glue off though. This is the first one, that is top side up. Okay, so we'll let that dry now. You can see that's set of stairs. Poor little people. Poor children. Yeah, I could have wedged some of these, but anyway, it'll be fine. There's just certain treads. See, that one didn't plane right, it's thin on the back, but it's all underneath. So I'm tight on the top, that's the important thing. Right, we'll leave that for 24 hours and come back to it. And then the second one up. And that is the upper face. Oh, I didn't really think about clamps, so I'm thinking about that now.